A very good morning to one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all the participants who have joined today's session of FDP on recent trends in teaching and learning process of English language. I extend a warm welcome to our resource person, Dr. R. Gowrishankar sir. On behalf of the Abdul Hakim College of Engineering and Technology, I once again welcome all to this program. It's a great honor for me to introduce our resource person, Dr. R. Gauri Shankar sir, Assistant Professor of English Department, Loganatha Narayanasamy College, Government College, Ponneri. He did BA English in Sri Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, B.Ed in IAAC Chennai. He did MA English in National College, Trichy, and MA Education in Periyar University. His MPhil in Bharatidasan University. He obtained his PhD in SCS VME University, Kanchipuram. He has 22 years experience of teaching experience, including 15 years of PG teaching and research experience. He has authored of 5 books. He produced 22 PhD scholars in English. He published 24 research articles in international referred journals. He has attended and chaired many sessions in international conferences. In 2007, he got state level first rank in TRB for the recruitment of college teachers. Now, I request Dr. R. Gauri Shankar sir to take over the session. Once again, now I request Dr. R. Gauri Shankar sir to take over the session.
Gauri Shankar sir? Hello. Sir?
Dr. R. Gauri Shankar sir, please unmute yours. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Hello?
Sir?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Audible,
Okay,
audible,
now.
sir.
Okay, you can move to the first slide, madam.
1 second.
Yes, sir.
Now is it okay, sir?
Oh, fine. Thank you.
Oh.
Shall we?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now you can continue.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, one and all connected here. And I immensely thank the management of Abdul Hakim College of Engineering and Technology for organizing such FDP, which may be useful for the student fraternity and members of staff in this lockdown period. I also thank for the brief introduction given to me and my profile. Thank you. Next slide, please. Yes. Be ready to bear the shock. This appeared in 2017, I believe. If you read that headline, 81% of class 5 kids in Tamil Nadu can't read English. If you see the bottom line, what is found? Nearly 65% of class 5 students in rural Tamil Nadu can't read even a class 2 textbook. So what is the content of a class 2 textbook? Might be some pictures, some small words, some sentences. 5th standard kid can't read the 2nd standard textbook. there's a rude shock. Hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay. Because we are doing the listening process, so I should know the other end is listening to me. Okay, thank you. So what would be the mistake? Who is at fault? Whom to be blamed in this regard? Teachers? We cannot. Textbook? We cannot. Student? We cannot. And the system? We cannot. So somewhat we have to evolve in this system so that student will learn the communicative skills along with their knowledge in the subject English. Not only paying a pass should not be the aim, and also the language skills. Next slide, please. So this pictorial representation of the language skills. It is generally said LSRW skills start with listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Who has given this order as LSRW skills? Why not it be SRWL or LSWLS? LSRW. After teaching English for 20 years as a skill developer, I identified listening is the very fundamental skills that helps other skills to master. If you want to master other skills, I put it in the other way, we should have the listening skills first. Next slide. So the very fundamental purpose of a language is to communicate ideas. What is communication? It's an exchange of information as expected by and as received. We want to convey our information as we expect it to get conveyed, and it should be received as we expect it. Madam, next slide. Communicate. No. Next slide. Communication
Someone
cycle.
is disturbing. Ask them to stop talking. The lecture goes on.
Sorry for the interruption, sir. Sorry for the interruption, sir. Participants are requested to put
Please
your
ask
mic.
others to mute their mic.
Yes,
They are not able to listen.
Yes. Participant, please put your mic in the mute condition.
Go to slide number 4, madam.
Yes, sir.
Slide number 4. Go back. You are going front. Yes. This is a communication cycle diagram. You are perfectly landed. Thank you. So what is communication? It is a exchange of idea, information from one end to other end as it is coded and as should be decoded. So there are two pictures. One is sender and receiver, and technically we call it as encoder and decoder. The above the head given encode, and encoder will have a message, and he chooses a medium, and that is received by the receiver, and receiver gives some reply, and that becomes a feedback. So the communication cycle completes it. So the medium may be telephonic medium, or our Zoom medium, or webinar medium, or online medium. letter medium, and the meeting as a one kind of a medium. So there are plenty. So the sender sends information and receiver receives it. And there is something called noise in between that disturbs this communication cycle. And this noise disturbs the receiver not to listen the information or may not help the receiver to receive the information properly. Sometimes the sender gives a telephone number of a person. We may not good at taking those numbers and we ask excuses. Sir, I beg your pardon. Beg me a pardon. Please repeat it. That's what we say. So that because of noise, and noise there are two types. One is noise of the gadgets or the malfunctioning of the gadgets. And number two, the noise is not well constructed message. What is a not well constructed message? Means something ambiguous message. Maybe the message with a mistake, or the words are obscure or vague. I will give one example. Once in the parking slot, a person parked his scooter and went for a shopping. And on his return, he found that the traffic constable has locked the front wheel with a special lock, and he has given a chit for non-parking spot fine. And he said, sir, you have only kept the board here so that I parked my vehicle. And the policeman looked at the board and said, see, this is non-parking slot. And this man is well educated and started arguing, sir, you have only advised to keep the vehicle here. It is very clearly written. And strength started gathering, and the 10 people started supporting the policeman, and the 10 people started supporting this motorist. And the superior arrived on the spot of the kiosk and looked at the board, and there was a problem. The board, it is mentioned fine for parking. This first word fine means the best place for parking, or it's an amount that you have to pay as a fine. And normally in US culture, they say, if you have license, okay, otherwise fine. This fine, not a very complimentary word, it's a, you have to pay a levy of amount as. So this is one example of communication, and how we take out communication is also very important. After 10th results get published, one boy said, I failed of 1 mark. And the teacher was so surprised because they know there is no internal marks, 35 is the passing minimum. A teacher may not award 30 for the fail mark, he would have added 1 mark somewhere and make you pass. What's your problem? You show me the mark sheet. And he has shown that he has got only 1 mark. So he communicated, he failed because of 1 mark. He got 1 mark. So in such a problem of expression or obscurity, not clear words, vague words, and redundancy, these are all comes under the noise one type, not well constructed message. And noise too, sometimes we have the technical problem and all that. So in this process, it can be a written communication, anything, but for a face-to-face communication, or group communication, or a meeting communication, or our classroom teaching, the receiver should have the listening skills. Because we write only 20%, and we manage our communication maximum 80% on oral. So when we talk, somebody should listen. So hope this communication cycle is explained to you in a proper way. Next slide, please. Then this LSRW, how these skills are classified. There are two major divisions. One is called proactive skills, and we do extemporarily. We speak something without any idea, and we can write. These are called, we produce. So it becomes proactive skills. Receptive skills, we require some other sources. Unless somebody talks, we cannot listen. When somebody speaks, we cannot listen. Nothing will happen in vacuum. So somebody should speak so that we can listen. And we should have some source so that we can read. So it is like a passive skills. Listening and reading becomes a receptive skills, and the speaking and writing becomes a proactive skills. Next slide, please. Types of listening. How we listen and what is the content of the listen, what is the manner of listen, and what is the purpose of listen. So these are all makes these terms. Informative listening is the first type. We listen for information. And relationship listening, that we relate to things. Appreciation listening, that comes under music, chats, and participating in time entertainment evening events, and even going for a movie and listening to a song. Everything comes under that. Critical, what is the particular information is expected, and discriminative is very sharp of getting details, and how these things are pronounced with the pattern, manner, rhythm. We call it as a star. Stress, timing, intonation, rhythm, like. So everything comes under the feature. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Hello? Hello? Ah. No, that cycle, the listening cycle. Okay. Good. So far, we discussed some aspects of listening and how this word listening get into our life. There are some common expressions. Can you see the first one? All of you listen here. Maybe teacher. We know the psychological theory and the stimulus and response. When the teacher is on board, there may be some small confusion. There may be some passers by the window. And the student may be interested in looking at the object outside the classroom. So at that time, the teacher gives a general expression. All of you listen here means she expected some kind of a disturbance and she's drawing attention to her class or to his class. And next, boss to subordinates, listen to me or listen me. Nowadays, two is submerged. And some people may not use the preposition, listen me or listen to me. So you are supposed to listen to the words of the boss. And come to our domestic life, listen only to me, not anybody else. You are supposed to listen only to me. We need not talk much about that. And doing the business negotiation, any sort of dialogue exchange, we go to this expression, could you listen to me for a minute? When you want to foreground an idea, when you want to support some information, when you want to submit some document on your favor, you are supposed to express this. And the last one, mostly it's a business management people, they do. When there is a discussion, the clash of opinion, the board of management or members of the board, they have come with thousands of ideas, and they try to dominate other, and they want to express their ideas wide, and sometimes there may be a chance of clash. So at that time, the spokesman will say, "Let us all listen to silence for a while." Means keep quiet, or keep your mouth shut. The content is this, but it is said in the eupemetical way. Let us all listen to silence for a while. So we know the word, the listen, and the process listening is very important in our life. And now how it gets processed, that we see in the next slide. So there are 7 aspects, and they are colored in 3 different colors with the purpose. The first 2, the hearing and selecting, these 2 are reciprocal action or activities. And next 2, attending and understanding, that one set of activities. And the aspects which are in green color, and they are clubbed activities. Now I'll explain the process. The very first stage of listening is hearing. Unless you hear something, you never give any attention. So you are on road, and somebody calls, "Madam," and a few will turn back because of the familiarity of voice. Or sometimes "English madam," the only English people will turn out. And your name is called on, or your name is called out, you turn. So the first phase, you hear the information, and that comes to you, and you are for that information. So you have selected the information. And next, your reaction is called attending. And the next stage is understanding. You try to understand what is the purpose. And for example, you start up a day with saying good morning. Though it is a hot day in the month of May, 41 degree, and burning from top to bottom, you say good morning. Though it is unpleasant weather, uncongenial weather, but we say good morning. What is the purpose? The simple purpose is, you want to start up a dialogue and saying good morning, means I am ready for any communication. And are you prepared to have any communication, or do you have any communication for me? The other people will say, yes, good morning, or very good morning. If they have any communication, they extend. And the communication process takes the cycle. Otherwise, they say good morning, and they part off. And on call, we select the information and we attend the information. For example, when you are in the railway station, there may be 10 to 11 trains to depart, and your train is Nilgiri Express or Tamil Nadu Express. And there may be more announcements, but the moment there is announcement for the Tamil Nadu Express, you will sharpen your hearing skill or listening skill, whatever it be, because it starts with hearing. You are attending, and you take the communication. And next, what is the output of the communication? You remember first what you heard, you try to rehearse. For example, that platform changed for the train, or it may start little late, or some other department announcements like that. And next stage is you recall and you reuse, you act accordingly. The reusing is act accordingly. So when there is information that processed, all the 7 stages will stand in your memory for a short time, but the memory will be good. You can remember the information for some time. But as I said, the reusing and remembering I have included with the blue arrow. whenever you process this, reusing and remembering, reusing. I will tell you one example. You will always remember a topic taught by your elementary school teacher or secondary grade teacher from 6th and 10th standard. You need not remember that content, but it will green in your memory. Cannot recover all information of your 10th standard or 12th standard, but certain aspects. It may be because of the teacher who taught you, the way she taught you, the way she transferred the information to your mind. And we call it as a jug and mug theory. And teacher is a jug, and student is a mug, and the teacher pours the knowledge in each and every jug. But you remember unwarrantedly, and you need not remember certain things, but still you remember because that is unconsciously processed in all the 7 stages. When the information taken the last 3 stages, reusing, recalling, remembering, sometimes it may happen vertical and horizontal. So it stay in your permanent memory. So listening starts with the very first step, hearing. You select information, you attend the information, you understand. Up to that is called temporary memory. It will stay in your mind temporarily. And next 3 stages, different frequency of the cycle rotation, you reuse, you remember, you recall, it stay in your mind forever. It's called permanent memory. So we are only focusing how this, how the information can be retained in your mind. For example, a student studies a subject and he should remember the subject for some time, at least for the exam benefit, not necessarily exam benefit, but also for the life benefits. There are certain subjects that he is supposed to remember. For example, grammar rules for English students. And name of the authors, name of the works, not necessarily that which year it got published, but they should know what genre it is. For example, when somebody say Macbeth is a novel, over. When somebody say Macbeth is a comedy, over. So they should retain the information, they attend the information, they remember the information, they recall and reuse. That's why in an exam hall, suppose a struck of a word, the students will blink and start looking through the roof till he gets connectivity with other word. Sometimes it goes off. Sometimes the flow will come like a river flow. Organizingly, it will come. The cohesion, coherent, everything is there. But because of how the information is get stored in your mind. Next slide, please. So the title of the slide itself very specifically convey the idea. We always see listening skills, but here I give a title, poor listening skills. The punctuation is very important in your place. So what would happen when somebody lacks a listening skill? Leading to mistakes. We don't take the instruction or information correct. So normally our reply will be full of mistakes. And in organization, it is misaligned goals. So what we act, what we are supposed to do, when there is a divorce between these two, and that normally ends up with the misaligned goals. And when you don't listen to people properly, and that gives a situation, it's called a misunderstanding. I said something, you did something. I said something, you taken something. So that's misunderstanding. That always get expressed in poor results. in a class, the subject is common, the teacher is common, but why there are poor results? Of course, we may quote the class is heterogeneous, varied skill level students. But in general, the toppers above 80 will be a few. More will be in 60 to 80. And a significant people of group will be below average. That because of their listening skill. That is well identified. And in organization as a professional, and they end up with poor results. Unless you listen, you cannot react. Unless you react, you cannot have a result orientation. And the last is group formation in organization or institution, anywhere. When there is more than one employee, there will be a group formation. That because of our listening skill, because that activates our activity and those that shows our result, that is our progress card. Next slide, please. So what made us not to listen? This is very important. Because we are so deliberate to learn and listen, but there are some factors which I classified into two. One is called external, another one is called internal. When there is a noise surrounding, we cannot listen. That we witnessed in the very beginning. A few participants, they switch on their mic, and there are some personal dialogues in the home that also appeared. Sometimes quite interesting than this topic, but anyway, but we cannot entertain that. So we give an advice, you switch off. So noise, as I said, in communication cycle, there's a noise in the gadget, noise in the environment, not well constructed message, everything comes under this. Noise is a kind of a disturbance. And a speed of speech, we call it as technically we call it as a rate of speech. But there are heterogeneous audience, so I use a very common word, speed. How speed you are speaking, the speaker, the speed. You might have witnessed a kind of announcement in every mutual fund investment. At the end, they give a warning. Within 3 or 4 seconds, they read the whole thing. Mutual fund investments are subject to the market risks. So kindly read the offer document before investing. So this is very slow. And they used to make it very fast because advertisement paid in lakhs and they give least preference for this. But as a business commodity, and they have to include this dialogue. So they do. And when I'm very slow, then people go sleep. And next, so the rate of speech should be followable. Uncomfortable temperature, the climate condition, too hot, too cold. That makes you uncomfortable. You may not listen proper. And the seating arrangements, that in a class, the ideal strength will be 1:40, but we can tolerate 60. And when there are more combined classes like 180, 200 students, the student in the last row, we may not know what they are doing, and they also don't know what we are doing on the board. So seating arrangement is a problem. And inappropriate location and volume of information transfer. When you listen to people, but how much volume of information they transfer? They keep on giving instruction: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Loading. Take down, watch down, look out. And too much of information. Sometimes you may have a notebook to take points, but you're unable to take a paper and pencil and you are all alone. How much of information you recollect? When there is a recording facility, a mobile phone is okay, but what about landline phones, intercoms? So that's a problem. And no opportunity for reply or feedback. When you want to clarify, you cannot clarify with the boss and he has to take it up. You cannot interfere. Sometimes they say you take down what I say, don't argue. And sometimes you may have a you may have a confusion. So what you will do? You have to ask a question, but there is no provision for asking any reply or feedback. So that also disturbs your listening process. And these are the external noises. Next slide, please. Listening barriers, internal. Hearing only facts, not feelings. Just you don't join with the emotion of the speaker. You don't join with the feeling of the speaker. So you're only hearing facts. When there is, we call it technically in business management, it's called a dead voice. When you talk with the curiosity, with the anxiety, the other end, okay, what shall we do? And they may not join with your emotions. So sometimes that becomes a problem for the individual. And daydreaming and out of the sight, out of the mind. And sometimes we stay in the classroom and think about other things. In the exam hall, we think about the movie. In the movie, we think about the exam fear, our problem, daydreaming. And emotional interference. Suppose you are not in the position to take up the communication, maybe you may fall sick, some kind of uncomfortable zone. And this is not known to all of your audience, and they try to converse. They may not know you are on the emotional situation, so may not. And automatic dismissal. Why should I hear or why should I listen to this? What is a necessity? Anyway, this is not going to help me out. So that when the idea comes to your mind, that is called automatic dismissal, you are pretended not to listen. You decided not to listen. And next is resistance to change. When new ideas present, sometimes we have some different ideas, and that may not go well. So we resist to change. That's also internal aspect. And whatever be the dialogue or knowledge transfer, the defensiveness. So we decided not to react. That's also another problem. Next, stereotyped hearing. It is like we are prohibit chanting mantras. That's a routine habit. We don't know what's it meaning, and we simply listen to that, and we may not entertained by that. So this becomes a internal listening barrier. So as internal problems, I listed hearing only facts, not feelings, daydreaming. When you are on emotion, that disturbs the listening process. And when you decided not to listen, that becomes automatic dismissal. And we are not ready to accept for a change. There's a difference called change management. Not prepared for a change. It's again a problem with the listening. And stereotyped hearing, listening the same information, that also get bored up. So we discussed so far the listening process, how it is important communication, what is a problem of poor listening skill, how it takes the end, and what are the listening barriers internally and externally. Shall we go for one practical listening session for 5 to 10 minutes so that you'll understand what we have discussed so far. This a small test will help you to understand your listening skills or lesson of listening. Next slide. So we are entered into the practical listening session. So prepare to take a paper and pencil test. An audio will be played by prompter and you just listen to the audio. Don't react, just to listen. Listen to the audio. And after hearing that, the next slide is an exercise slide. It's like a paragraph with 20 blanks. It's fill up the blanks type.
Buildings we construct must have supports. Without beams, girders, and trusses to keep up the floors, walls, windows, and roofs, buildings like our homes would collapse. Many living things have supporting structures too. Lobsters, for example, have outer shells to give them shape and to protect them from enemies. Mammals, birds, some fish, and most reptiles have inner supporting structures. Humans do too. Made of bone, this structure is called a skeleton. An adult human skeleton has 206 bones to support the fleshy parts of the body. With the help of muscles and ligaments which are attached to the bones, the skeleton enables us to move. The skeleton also protects important internal organs such as the heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys. Without a skeleton, we would be like a jellyfish out of water, just an immobile lump on the ground. Although they look like they are dead, bones are very much alive. They are growing and changing all the time, like the other parts of your body. The building blocks of these bones is calcium. Milk and milk products such as cheese and yogurt are good sources of calcium and should be part of our daily diet. The bones are hollow in the middle and contain marrow, which makes the blood cells important for fighting.
Now you show the exercise slide, slide number 14. Could you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Slide number 14, please.
Yes, sir.
Ah. Next slide. Ah. And you give some 3 to 4 minutes for the participants to read what they heard, and there are some 20 dashes. Please play the audio once again for the benefit of participants.
Buildings we construct must have supports. Without beams, girders, and trusses to keep up the floors, walls, windows, and roofs, buildings like our homes would collapse. Many living things have supporting structures too. Lobsters, for example, have outer shells to give them shape and to protect them from enemies. Mammals, birds, some fish, and most reptiles have inner supporting structures. Humans do too. Made of bone, this structure is called a skeleton. An adult human skeleton has 206 bones to support the fleshy parts of the body. With the help of muscles and ligaments which are attached to the bones, the skeleton enables us to move. The skeleton also protects important internal organs such as the heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys. Without a skeleton, we would be like a jellyfish out of water, just an immobile lump on the ground. Although they look like they are dead, bones are very much alive. They are growing and changing all the time, like the other parts of your body. The building blocks of these bones is calcium. Milk and milk products such as cheese and yogurt are good sources of calcium and should be part of our daily diet. The bones are hollow in the middle and contain marrow, which makes the blood cells important for fighting.
So participants may check their words that you have filled in the blank. Anyway, I will give the list of correct answers in the next slide. And somebody also said they could see only 18 dashes. Other two, the 19 and 20 disappear or out of focus, but it is considered as out of syllabus and you will be given 2 marks. Don't worry. Go to next slide, ma. So these are the correct answers for the 20 fill in the blanks exercise. Next slide, please. So we, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. It is
Okay.
audible, sir.
Okay. So again, we come to the traditional teacher because since we are conducting a test, we have to submit a detailed report, how many people, the range and marks. So when you scored 1 to 5 marks, And legends are very clear. When you scored 16 out of 20, you have got a very excellent skills. Even when you got 0, indication for your next slide, please. So, as a student, as a professional, as a teacher, as a human self, this listening is very important. How to develop this listening skill? I made one example of anagram, the very first point. Same 6 letters make the words silent and listen. So the internal silence, external silence, everything helps for our listening aspects. Desire to listen. When you are exposed to a communication process, you have the desire what they say. And they are going to say something important or something interesting. Just have a desire. And keeps ears open. It's a welcome attitude. You take the information not to mere ears and also take to your heart and brain, to intellectual experience. You keep the ears open. And there's also a say, the nature has designed a human being with 2 ears and mouth. Talk less and hear more. And as an individual, you can remove the possible distractions. For example, noise of a fan, the flickering sound of a tube light, or some noise entry, or you can close the window or open the window like that. And empathize the feelings of the speaker. When the speaker gives some positive emotions, you also join with that. Accept the new and innovative ideas. See that the day old fashion is fading up, and we are coming with the new ideas. And I know something which is 2 year or 3 year old ideas, and there may be a new concept. Who thought that the Zoom and Meet will have a domination of conducting such webinars? Have you ever explored of this type? No. Video conferencing that we heard of. But now that becomes a order of the day. So how we accepted this like that? And there are new ideas. You kindly accept the mind level. Because when the moment you don't accept the mind level, immediately your listening process is stopped. You said something new, but I know only this. How this possible? So your mind will work only on that, not on the words of the speaker. And as a wise attitude, you kindly take notes of the important keywords. Keep a piece of paper and jot down the important words and notes. Next slide. Don't jump to conclusions. I actually would like to share one anecdote. Once in the boss room, I happened to read their biggest manufacturer of sports goods and exercise equipments. But in the CEO room, there is a small handout or notice. Don't do 3 exercises here. 1. Don't push your luck. Number 2, don't stretch the deadlines. Number 3, don't jump to conclusions. You don't decide he is going to say only this. Preconceived notions. We technically call it in business management. So this man will say only this, let us not listen. So this attitude will not help. So don't jump. You patiently wait. When something contrast idea presented, you kindly hold your temper. Sometimes your emotions may take you a different zone of talk and understanding. So that cannot help. So hold your temper. There are many questionable areas, but always ask questions at the end. At the end of the session, sir, I have some observation and kindly explain this. And the last aspect is argue easily. There's nothing called an argument, the idea for a clarification. But you can ask it in a very easy way because two watches never match. For example, my watch it is 11, but whereas the prompter's watch may show the 11:05. He may in the different mood, the time is going. So whenever a two watch shows the same time, like your understanding of ideas and the presentation of ideas may have a small variations, you kindly adjust to that. At the end, you give a constructive feedback to reflect your understanding. And you need not ask questions. But when you give a feedback, that gives an idea to the presenter, what he has presented, whether the presentation has gone the right way or not. So these are the listening stages. Next slide, please. The participant may present their questions or the prompter may report the questions to me so that I'll answer.
Now, I request the participant to post your questions in the chat box.
Sir, good morning, sir. This is Dr. Jayashree Agarwal from Kaveri College for Women, Trichy.
Wonderful, madam.
Sir, I've been listening to your session very, very actively, and the most interesting part, I found the activity. My observation is, sir, that it was not a common, fill-ups. I expected, I was noting down, the words like the skeleton supports, for an example, I'm just telling you.
Okay, okay.
The internal organs, such as heart, lungs, liver, kidney. I noted down heart, lungs, liver, kidney, imagining that any one will be asked, but
okay.
the fill-up was such as,
Okay.
So, that was the difference I found in your activity, rather than asking the, the common questions which we expect. Calcium and calcium products was a question. I noted down cheese and yogurt. I thought you would be asking cheese and yogurt as a, So as you mentioned, preconceived notions we have in our minds when we listen. And this was what I think you have broken that myth of not having that preconceived ideas and listening actively. So that one lesson I picked up from the session. Thank you so much, sir. That was my observation from your session. Thank you.
Sir, good morning. This is Govindasammy from Park. In the same listening test, I have my own observation. I couldn't even write a single word. I got 0 in the test. You may ask me why. Normally, I have my own problem. When the listening text along with the listening audio, both are played at the same time. When the text is available while the listening audio is played, I might have scored more marks. This is my observation. And moreover, in these tests, it tests my remembering, recalling, and reusing.
Wonderful.
Yes, therefore, that's one observation. And my second observation, we have been listening to you for nearly 1 hour. There were several types of listening you mentioned.
Yes.
What type of listening our listening comes under? For example, informative, relationship listening, appreciative listening, and what type of listening you will put our listening under which category? That's my question.
Oh, okay.
Were we listening to informative?
Yeah.
Or relationship listening? Or was it an appreciative listening? Was it a critical listening? Or was it a listening of all these types?
Actually, sir, this is a new experience for me.
Yes, sir.
Because one attempt, I think the human mind is the biggest of puzzles. When we, as the previous madam said, actually, I expected some other question, but this question was asked, so I could not. She mentioned that lungs, everything, but the question, I always expect the unexpected. The listening skill, and actually, when you go to the higher order of hierarchy of positions like group team manager and all that in the companies, I was a part of a recruiting team. They always look for the minute details, because we the teachers and English students, we know what sort of comprehension the first paragraph or the first question, second paragraph, second question, like that. Even I have a pattern of exercises for discriminative listening. For example, I will give one dash, I'll give 3 answers, multiple choice. Whether you heard this word or that word, that also one kind of exercise. Still, we have more exercises we can practice. But generally, our mind, what it says actually, the moment when you listening to a concept or aspect, it associates with our experience. We are basically doing only informative listening and a little critical. So I will give you another question. If you want to give a title for this listening paragraph, what would be your title? Will you give title as a structure?
Once again, I request the participant to post your questions in the chat box.
Madam, excuse me.
Participants are requested to put your mic in the mute condition.
Madam, excuse me. This is Veera Raghavan from Coimbatore.
Yes, sir.
I requested the speaker to repeat the 3 points.
Yes, sir.
Will you
sure,
please?
Sir.
Many of the people couldn't understand. Please, madam.
Yeah, sure, sir.
3 points in the CEO room.
Sir?
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, sir.
Speak. Let the
Yes,
speaker
sir,
say all the 3 points, madam. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sir, I request resource person, Dr. R. GOWRISHANKAR, sir. Sir, will you say once again all the 3 points, sir? Sir, please unmute yourself.
Yes.
Sir?
Tell me the question again.
Participants are request you to say once again all the 3 points, sir.
All the 3 points. Okay. So I think I have given the answer for the previous participants, and the other person wants it again,
Yes,
right?
Yes, sir. Another participant is asked.
Okay. See, when we hear information, immediately our mind works on first level is informative listening. We gain information, and when the audio file discussed structure, and immediately that talked about the living organisms. That becomes a comparison, becomes a relationship listening, and how this, what we heard, the first two lines of the paragraph structures, and number two, third and fourth line discussing on reptiles and our human skeleton and bones, and what is made up with, and what is the source of the bone growing, and what is the activity. So when the very first level, our mind works out with the informative listening. And number two, it moves to relationship. And there is no appreciational listening in this text at all. You can go for the next one, the critical listening. These are three activity. This audio information, testing your informative level, and the relationship level, and the critical level.
Sir?
Madam, kindly assist me.
Yes, sir, sure, I'll forward to the sir.
Sure.
Madam, this is not the question I have.
Madam. You people are expecting the anecdote, 3 points. I know that.
Yes, madam. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, the participants are expecting the 3 points from me was anecdote, sir. Don't jump to the conclusion like that.
Okay. Don't. The first point is don't push your luck.
Yes.
Sometimes we may not work on the file. The moment the boss asks where is the file, and we do something and put it on the table. Sometimes the boss may not be in the mood to look all the details, and he'll sign the last paragraph without seeing what is kept in the front and discussion and all that. What we take a signature, the principal, we put a flag, the color flag, and the principal takes that particular form and sign, and we do without seeing what is discussed, and we sign in the papers. Sometimes it may work, sometimes it may not work. So don't push your luck. So you work on the file. Don't try your luck in the place. The first point meaning is that. And number two is don't stress the deadline. For example, the work should be given. The work should be finished within this time limit, and don't stretch it. There is a stretcher in the exercise equipment to have a broadened shoulder and reduce obesity. They call the stretching exercise. And don't stretch the deadlines. When the work is given to be submitted on time, finished before this time, don't stretch it. And third point is don't jump to conclusions.
Ask a question for you only.
Don't jump to conclusions. Don't have a preconceived notion. This particular point will have only this kind of an ending. Don't do that. Be open to mind and don't jump to conclusion. So don't expect a movie will have such an ending. Sometimes there may be a twist like that. So don't push your luck. Don't push your luck. Don't stress the deadlines, and don't jump to conclusions. These are the 3 points.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, good morning, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Ma'am, I am Suja from Vellore, ma'am, Professor Suja.
Yes,
I would like to ask a question from speaker, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. You can.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
We had a very nice session, sir. I want to have one strategy by which the students, that is the students might be engineering college students or school kids, whoever maybe, when they were listening to class, of course, they are trying to be attentive, but still one useful methodology by which they have to at least remember the important technical terms and how to take the class as a story, that is by which they could able to remember the things whatever the staffs or faculties delivered to them. My kid is about 12th standard. So if I want to make him to be attentive or following the class very well, or to be remember the things, what is the tool which I can tell to him?
Okay, so you are talking about the
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir. This is for kids level, sir. And then even for engineering, I'm taking classes for engineering students only. So even for
Okay.
engineering students, if I tell that tips means, then they could be able to cope up with the staffs.
Okay, you're talking about the classroom management and the result orientation, your lesson plan and lesson delivery, everything. So you are given a small lecture to me. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Actually, I used to advise, and I was advised by my teachers, you don't prepare for all the 1 hour. Your content should be for 20 minutes. In a B.Ed program, there is something called lesson plan. There are some many activities. They have the micro skills and macro skills. You should give an introduction to the students about the topic. You should introduce the topic. You could not straight away go to the blackboard and this is the topic for the day and we are going to discuss. No, you should ask some. You should prime them to come to your topic, and you should bring the very core word of your topic from their mouth. That's one strategy. And number two, by telling a story. Even actually in listening, I thought of adding some slides. Actually, one motorist was arrested with a charge that he talked over a phone while driving. But he has confessed to the judge, my lord, I was only just listening, not even pronounced a single word to my wife. Why you are punishing me? So the listening is one activity. And moreover, now we have a advantage of using newspapers in the classroom. And there are many news items which are very relevant to be used in the classroom. Even Google Edge server, there is on .com. You can get all information and examples and small animations and some zip files that you can use in the class. You should create an interest, first of all. That is very important. Straight away, delivering a lecture may not help. So your preparation you are taking a class of 45 minutes to 50 minutes. Your subject orientation should be 20 minutes. Do you know the listening cycle of a human being per day? It is only 20 minutes for whole day. If you perform 24 hours of information flow, a person can concentrate only 20 minutes. And think about students and think about different subjects per day. So yeah, listening cycle may be alive for student only for 3 to 4 minutes in a class. So within that, you should be able to finish your work.
Okay, sir.
Convey.
I think now we are in the.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, sir. Now we are in the concluding session.
No, just I have you put last after discussion there is a slide.
Okay,
the slide number 20. Last but one. The slide is self-explanatory. Hope people can understand this. And you can go to next slide, my complementary slide.
Okay, sir. Shall we conclude, sir? Okay.
Yeah, please.
Now, yes. Now, I request our respected Mr. K.A. Hadibasha, sir, Assistant Professor of English Department of Science and Humanities, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Very good morning to all of you. It gives me immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks. By the grace of Almighty, we have accomplished this faculty development program in a successful manner. First of all, I would like to thank the management, particularly our chairman, Dr. S. Ziauddin Ahmad sir, and our correspondent, Dr. V. M. Abdul Latif sir, for giving us this wonderful opportunity to organize this program. I thank our principal sir for his guidance and motivation. I thank our guest of the day one event, Dr. Murli Murugayan, sir, for his resourceful speech on speaking and listening skill. I thank our guest of the day two event, Dr. J. Karthikeyan, sir, for his informative speech on technology for English teachers. I thank our guest of today's event, Dr. GOWRISHANKAR sir, for his educative speech on listening skills for professionals. Thank you, sirs. I thank Dr. Z. Abdul Wahid, HOD of Science and Humanities Department, for his encouragement and support to conduct this event in smooth and well-organized manner. I thank all the faculty members and the staff who have contributed a lot in making this program fruitful and effective. I thank my colleague Tamil Selvi ma'am, the convener, for assisting in organizing this event in a well-organized manner. I thank my colleague Professor Nishad Ahmed of MCA department for his support in conducting the entire program in all the technical aspects effectively. I thank all the participants of this FDP for their interest, enthusiasm, and their valuable feedback. With their overwhelming support, this task could be accomplished with great success. I once again thank you, one and all. Thank you very much. Nice, sir.
Thank you, sir. Participants are requested to fill the feedback form. It will enable only 30 minutes. Once again, participants are asked to fill the feedback form. It will enable only 30 minutes. My heartfelt thanks to all the participants made this FTP in a great success, and my special thanks to our resource person, Dr. R. GOWRISHANKAR sir. Thank you, one and all. I would like to inform the participants information. The participants will receive the e-certificate within a week.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you please share the PPTs, ma'am, to all our mail IDs?
Sure, sir. We'll ask the resource person
And for
and send to you.
all the three
Yeah.
sessions.
Okay, sir. We'll ask the resource person and send to your mail, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Madam, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Madam, if possible, please, yesterday's feedback link, madam, please.
Sure, sir. Put your email ID in the chat box, sir. I'll send to your mail.
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.